A hidden ledger has surfaced, and it may connect the past to the present. But in a town like this, truth doesn't travel alone. It travels with rumours. In Harbour Haven, whispers spread faster than facts, and sometimes they're more dangerous. Welcome to Episode 6, Whispers Around Town. Let's continue. Welcome to the Harbour Haven Mysteries series. Book 1, The Rolling Pin Conspiracy.
Hello. This is Chapter 6, The Camera That Saw Too Little. Let's continue. Morning in Harbour Haven begins the way it usually does, slowly, with the tide breathing in and out against the docks and the cry of gulls circling above the harbour. Clary Finch stands at the wide wooden prep table in the bakery kitchen, sleeves rolled to her elbows, hands dusted with flour. The ovens hum softly behind her, giving off a steady warmth that pushes back the damp chill drifting in from the sea. Outside the open back window, the harbour wind carries the smell of salt water and diesel from the early fishing boats returning to dock. Somewhere down the street, a truck rumbles past, its tyres whispering over wet pavement. Inside the bakery, the smells are better. Fresh coffee, cinnamon rolls, warm bread crust. The morning batch of sourdough sits cooling on the rack while Clary presses dough into neat rows for the next tray of pastries. Benji leans against the counter near the register, wiping mugs with a dish towel. "Town's buzzing again," he says. Clary doesn't look up. "It hasn't stopped buzzing since the murder." Benji shrugs. "True, but today it's louder." The front door opens, the small brass bell chiming. Two fishermen step inside, boots damp from the docks. They stamp the wet from their soles and approach the counter. "Morning, Benji," one says. "Coffee strong." "You always say that," Benji replies, "because you always make it weak." The men laugh. Clary slides a tray of cinnamon buns into the oven and brushes flour from her hands before stepping into the front room. The bakery windows look out over Harbour Street, where small shops sit shoulder to shoulder. Bait stores, cafes, a bookstore, and the little grocery that's been there longer than anyone remembers. A pair of gulls squabble over something in the road. One of the fishermen nods toward Clary. "Heard the police were back behind the bakery again last night." Clary feels her stomach tighten. "They were?" "Flashing lights around 10, whole alley lit up." The other fisherman lowers his voice. "People are saying it wasn't random." Clary pours coffee into their mugs. "What do you mean?" The man glances toward the window before speaking again. "They're saying whoever killed Harold knew him." "Harold?" The victim's name still feels strange in conversation. Clary hands them their coffee. "In a town this small," she says carefully, "everyone knows everyone." The fishermen exchange a look. "That's exactly the problem." At the counter, Mrs. Dotty arrives with her usual morning walk energy and a knit sweater that looks older than the bakery. "Have you heard?" she asks before even sitting down. Clary sighs softly. "Probably." "They say Harold withdrew money the day before he died." Benji looks up. "Who says?" "Everyone." "That's not a source," Benji replies. Mrs. Dotty waves him off. "Something was going on behind that bakery. I've lived here long enough to know trouble when I smell it." Clary forces a polite smile. "Let's hope the police figure it out soon." But inside, a quiet unease settles deeper. Because Harbour Haven does not gossip without reason. And rumours in a small town tend to grow from seeds of truth. Just then the bakery phone rings. Benji answers. "Harbour Haven Bakery." He listens for a moment, then turns toward Clary. "It's the police." The room suddenly feels warmer. Too warm. Clary wipes her hands on a towel and takes the receiver. "Clary Finch speaking." The voice on the other end belongs to Officer Mateo Alvarez. "Morning, Miss Finch. We were hoping you could come down to the station." Her grip tightens slightly. "Is something wrong?" A pause. "We've got something we'd like you to see." Character interaction. The Harbour Haven police station sits only 3 blocks from the bakery, a small brick building near the town square. Clary walks there with the wind pushing gently at her coat. People nod as she passes. But today their smiles carry questions. Inside the station, the air smells faintly of coffee and old paperwork. Officer Alvarez meets her near the front desk. Thanks for coming, he says. What's going on? He gestures toward a back office. Chief wants you to take a look at something. Inside the room, Chief Morgan stands beside a computer monitor mounted on a desk. He is a tall man with a calm expression that rarely gives much away. Morning, Clary, he says. She folds her arms. You said you wanted to show me something. The chief nods toward the screen. We pulled footage from a security camera across the street from the bakery. Clary feels her chest tighten. From the night Harold died? Yes. Officer Alvarez taps the keyboard. The screen flickers. Black and white video appears. A timestamp glows in the corner. 11:42 p.m. The view shows Harbour Street at night. The bakery sits across the road, its windows dark. The alley beside the building lies mostly in shadow. Clary leans closer. Nothing moves for several seconds. Then, a shape appears near the alley entrance. A person. The figure steps briefly into the dim streetlight. Clary inhales sharply. Who is that? Chief Morgan shakes his head. We don't know yet. The person's face remains hidden beneath what looks like a hood or hat. They pause beside the alley, then disappear into the darkness. Officer Alvarez freezes the frame. That's the clearest shot we have. Clary studies the image. The figure's shoulders are slightly hunched. Their posture is cautious. Could it be Harold? She asks. The chief shakes his head. Harold left the bakery earlier that night. Different direction. So this person came later? Yes. Officer Alvarez plays the video again. The figure moves slowly, glancing toward the street before stepping deeper into the alley. Clary feels a small chill. They knew where they were going. Chief Morgan nods. That's what we're thinking. She watches the footage a third time. Something about the movement bothers her. Not just the timing, the way the person walks, purposeful, careful. Do you know what time Harold was killed? She asks. Shortly after midnight, Alvarez replies. Clary glances at the timestamp again. 11:42 p.m. Then whoever this is might have been the last person to see him alive. The chief crosses his arms. Possibly. Clary leans closer to the screen. But the camera didn't capture their face. Unfortunately not. So we have proof someone was there. But not who, the chief finishes. Clary exhales slowly. That's frustrating. Morgan nods. Welcome to police work. Mystery movement. Clary watches the video again and again. Something begins to stand out. Can you rewind it? She asks. Officer Alvarez scrolls back. The figure appears once more. Clary studies their movement. The slight tilt of their shoulders. The way they step off the curb. Pause it right there. The screen freezes. The figure's silhouette stands partly under the streetlight. Clary tilts her head. That coat. What about it? Alvarez asks. It's long. Chief Morgan shrugs. Lots of people wear long coats. Yes, Clary says slowly. But look at the sleeves. The chief leans closer. The cuffs extend past the wrists. Too big, Clary says. Maybe. And the person's carrying something. Officer Alvarez squints. I thought that was just shadow. No, Clary says, and she points to the screen. There. A small shape hangs near the person's side. Not large, but distinct. Could be a bag, Alvarez says. Clary nods. A delivery bag. Or tool bag. Chief Morgan studies the image carefully. You noticing something we missed? Clary hesitates. Maybe. She watches the figure walk again. One more time. The video plays. The person moves with a slight outward step on the right foot. A subtle motion, but consistent. Clary frowns. That walk. You recognize it? The chief asks. She shakes her head slowly. No, but it feels familiar. Officer Alvarez stops the video. What direction did they come from? Clary asks. He zooms out slightly. The street map appears beside the footage. From the east side of Harbour Street. Clary traces the direction in her mind. East. That side of town includes several businesses. A cafe, a hardware store, the council office building. She exhales slowly. So whoever this was might live or work nearby. Chief Morgan nods. That's one theory. Clary studies the frozen image again. If this was planned, the chief raises an eyebrow. Go on. They might have known where the cameras were. The room grows quiet. Officer Alvarez glances at the chief. That's possible. Clary crosses her arms. If someone lives here long enough, they know exactly which corners have cameras. Chief Morgan nods slowly. Meaning this wasn't random? Clary looks back at the screen. The shadowy figure stands frozen beneath the weak streetlight, half hidden, almost invisible. They walked right into the blind spot, she says. Internal reflection. Clary leaves the police station with the harbour wind pushing against her coat. The sky has turned pale grey. Fishing boats rock gently against their moorings as she walks along the waterfront toward the bakery. The town looks normal. Too normal. People carry groceries. Children ride bicycles along the sidewalk. A dog barks somewhere behind a white picket fence. Yet beneath the ordinary rhythm of Harbour Haven, something darker moves. Someone walked into that alley. Someone who knew the town. Clary stops beside the railing overlooking the harbour. Salt air stings faintly in her nose. She closes her eyes briefly and replays the footage in her mind. The coat, the bag, the careful step. That right foot movement again. Not a limp, but close. She exhales slowly. The ledger floats back into her thoughts. Hidden investments. Money is moving quietly through town businesses. Harold had been involved in something. Something big enough to make someone angry. Or scared or desperate. The fisherman's rumours echo in her head. He withdrew money. Someone argued with him. Now a mysterious figure appears near the bakery hours before the murder. Clary pushes a strand of hair behind her ear. If this was planned, she murmurs softly to herself, then the killer knew more than just Harold. They knew the bakery. They knew the alley. And maybe, just maybe, they knew exactly where the cameras were. The thought settles heavily. Because that means the killer isn't just someone passing through Harbour Haven. It's someone who belongs here. Someone who understands the town. Clary turns back toward the bakery. The wind lifts the harbour flags along the docks, and suddenly the town feels smaller, much smaller. Final moments. Clary reaches the corner of Harbour Street. The bakery sits ahead, its windows glowing warm against the grey afternoon. Benji stands outside, sweeping the sidewalk. He waves when he sees her, but Clary slows. Across the street, near the alley, a man stands beside a parked truck, tall, long coat. For a brief moment, he glances toward the bakery. Then he turns quickly and climbs into the driver's seat. The truck engine starts. Clary's stomach tightens. The vehicle pulls away from the curb and disappears down Harbour Street. Benji notices her expression. What's wrong? Clary keeps watching the empty road. That coat, she says quietly. Benji frowns. What coat? She turns toward him slowly. The one from the security footage. Benji's broom stops mid-sweep. You're kidding! Clary shakes her head. I don't think I am. And for the first time since the murder. She feels certain of one thing. The person in that video is still here in Harbour Haven.
Thank you for listening to Chapter 6 of The Rolling Pin Conspiracy. Join us next time in Harbour Haven for Chapter 7, The Fired Employee. And, no, in Harbour Haven, the ovens may cool, but the mystery never does. What wasn't captured may matter most. Join us next time for Episode 7, Shadows on the Water. Visit harbourhavenmysteries.com to continue the mystery. And remember, every quiet street holds a story, and every story hides a clue.